Hi guys, today we're going to talk about multiplying decimals using the standard algorithm. And the I can statement we're working on is I can multiply decimals using models and the standard algorithm. And as you can tell from the title of this video, and the fact that you've already finished learning about multiplying using models, we are going to focus on the standard algorithm, which is what are the rules that I can use to multiply with decimals without having to use models. So from the previous lesson, many of you made some really awesome observations, such as the product with decimals has the same numbers or digits as multiplying those numbers without the decimals. So for example, if you were multiplying 3 times 4, you know that's 12. Many of you noticed, hey, when I multiply 3/10 times 4/10, I get 12 hundredths. So both products have a 12 in them. Many of you also noticed that there are the same number of decimal digits in the product as there are in the factors of the problem. So if I'm looking here, 12 hundredths is made up of 2 decimal digits. And if I look in the problem, I have 2 digits that come after decimals as the factors. So you guys made lots of good observations, but I couldn't fit them all on this page. So many of them were also put in the comment section of the blog about multiplying with decimal models. So if you would like to look at some of the other observations that your peers made, go ahead and go back to that video and you can look in the comment section. So let's start by finding the product of 3 2/10 and 45 hundredths. So basically 3 2/10 times 45 hundredths. Now before I go and do that, because I haven't really come up with the algorithm yet, I want to have a good idea of what I think the answer is going to be. So when I do get my product, I make sure that I've got the right or about the right answer. It's a good way to do a quick check. So I'm going to round these to numbers that I do know how to multiply in my head. So 3 2/10, oops, that should be 3 2/10. Let's just fix that real quick. All right. 3 2/10 is about 3, and 45 hundredths is about 5/10 or half. And so I know what half of 3 is. That's 1.5. So my answer is going to be somewhere close to 1.5. And if it's not, I know that maybe either I didn't multiply right or I didn't put the decimal in the right spot. So let's do it. Here we go. You're going to want to use your graph paper. And when you're using your graph paper, and I'll show you in just a second, you're going to want to put 1 digit per square. And that just helps you to line up your numbers so you don't mix up your place values or add the wrong numbers. And then you might not get the right answer if you do that. So we want to be as accurate as possible. So when we are multiplying with decimals, you do not need to line up the decimals. And what we're going to do is actually forget we had decimals at all. So we're going to pretend that we're just multiplying 32 and 45. And notice I have 1 digit per square. And I have all the ones digits lined up, all the tens digits lined up, and if I had hundredths, those would be lined up as well. So when I multiply those without the decimal, I get 1,440. Well, I know 1,440 is nowhere close to 1.5. But I do know from the observations I made that I'm not done yet. I do need to put a decimal in there. So what we need to do is count the number of digits that are behind the decimal point in the original factors. So if I'm looking, 3 2/10 has 1 digit behind the decimal, and 45 hundredths has 2 digits behind the decimal, which gives me a total of 3. So that means in my product, I need to have 1, 2, 3 digits behind the decimal. So I'm going to place my decimal point in the answer so that it has the same number of digits behind the decimal, which gives me 1 440 thousandths, or 1 44 hundredths, which is close to 1 5/10. So I'm probably correct. And in this case, we are. So your answer is 1 and 440 thousandths. Let's try another one, and this one's going to be a little trickier. We want to find the product of 25 hundredths and 16 hundredths. So 25 hundredths is exactly 1/4. So what's 1/4 of 16 hundredths? Well, that would be about, so 1/4 of 16, 16 divided by 4 is 4. That's probably going to give me about, what, 4 hundredths? Let's check and see. Again, you're not going to need to line up the decimals when you're multiplying, and you're going to pretend that you are simply multiplying 25 and 16. And once again, when you do this in your composition books, you're going to want to put 1 digit per square on the grid paper. So let's multiply 25 times 16, and I get 400. And now I need to count the digits that are behind the decimal point in the original factors. There are 4 of them, which means I need to have 4 in my answer, but I only have 3 digits. So what I need to do, these 3 digits get taken up. I'm going to need to add a 0 before the 4 in 400. So that extra 0 goes in front, and I can place my decimal point. And I get 400. So my estimate was actually an exact answer, 400. Now it's your turn. Go ahead and complete these 4 problems in your composition book. And when you're done, you're going to pause the video to do these 4 problems. And when you're done, press play and check your work. Okay, let's see how you did. Okay, don't forget to WSQ in your notes and check in with me when you're all done, and we can move you on. You can go back and watch any part of this video as many times as you need to, or the whole video, and have a great day.